In this short video, we're going to talk about finite element mesh size considerations. This discussion is valid for all of our software, including Visual Plate, which I'm showing here, ConcreteBending, Visual Foundation, and Visual Analysis. In this example, we have a plate mesh with triangular plate elements, and when you look at the Modify tab with nothing selected, under the Analysis section, you'll see we have an element count of 400. And in this case, it leads to a fairly crude mesh. Is this adequate or not? The answer to that question really lies at the base of the finite element method. Our software uses a displacement-based finite element. And because of that, it's important that we look at the displacements of the structure to see if they're accurate or not. One way to determine if they're accurate is to look and see if they've changed after I've changed the mesh size. To look at the displacements, if we switch to analysis results, with nothing selected, we see our displacements range from 0.3 inches down to 0 inches. If I go back to the model view now and switch the number of elements from 400 to, let's say, 1,000, and when the analysis results are complete, we can again look at displacements and see now we've changed from 0.3 to 0.34 inches. So it's still moving a bit. Let's change the element size. Again, switching to user defined so I can manually adjust this. Let's change the size to 3,000 elements. Getting finer in our mesh. And when we look at analysis results, we've gone now to 0.37. So things are still changing a bit. One more time, let's go from 3,000 this time to, let's say, 4,000 elements. Again, finer meshes, taking a little longer to analyze, which is the price you pay for more accurate results. And now looking at the displacements, we've gone to 0.39. So it's moved just still a little bit. Going back one more time, let's move to 5,000 elements. Now we're getting a lot of elements in a very fine mesh, and waiting for results. When they show up, we can look at the displacements, and now we see it's still at 0.39, so there really hasn't been a change. So I would say that the previous mesh size of about 4,000 elements was certainly accurate enough, and the displacements weren't changing. Notice that internally we have a user-defined as well as 3 in-house defined mesh settings. A coarse mesh gives us about 1,000 elements, a medium mesh gives us about 3,000, and a fine mesh will give us about 5,000 elements. So in most problems you'll find that that medium mesh is probably accurate enough.